Wizards. Where do I begin? Today we have finally seen the BTC 8,500 level come through and fulfill our end of year targets. I'm in a phenomenal mood right now. Words cannot explain how I'm feeling after seeing this call come through so successfully. We've been waiting months on end for this to happen. We've been sitting here on our hands. We've handled backlash. We've handled absolutely everything during this very volatile and rocky period in the market where a lot of indecision was going on, a lot of confusion was going on. People were arguing, and there were many problems erupting on crypto Twitter over whether it's a bull run or whether, it's just manipulation. But the overall majority just continuously said, I could go through so many different accounts that just kept saying all-time highs next, all-time highs next, and they just kept screaming from the top of their lungs that this was going to be a magnificent bull run. And if you actually just zoomed out for a little bit of a longer term perspective, you'll realize that when you look at the 2019 growth and when you look at the projection, which I've got on this chart, which I'll get over to in a second, you start to understand that from 2019, the first half of the year was a phenomenal bull run. We'd seen a lot of untouched ground. We've seen all this movement here, but the key is nobody was actually looking from the longer term bias. No one was really zooming out, and no one really understood what was actually going on in the overall longer term picture. So the first thing that came to mind, especially when I started seeing this rally to the upside, and especially when we started getting closer on a monthly perspective towards this number. Now, don't get me wrong, in the beginning, I'll put my hands up. I will completely admit, I did think around $8,000 we were about to see the end of this rally and then continue down towards the $6,000 region first. I actually completely admit that. There's nothing to shy away from. But when we started breaking out higher, it was becoming clear. I zoomed out, I recalculated, I went back to the drawing board, and the first thing I saw was this. I understood there's a key level and a key candle closure around this region. Therefore, whatever happens very soon will likely drive price if it continues higher towards this region. Therefore, there has to be a reaction of some sorts. It was the last closing level before we reversed from all-time highs for 2 months in a row. That's a very significant level. The price just reversed instantly, and immediately upon seeing that downside reversal, it was very clear there was a huge amount of sell orders present, and this was a premeditated move. Now, I cannot be bothered to get the whole thing up again, but if you actually look lower, the first thing I just want to throw out there straight away from a daily perspective is, despite the trade that's just been caught from $10,800, this was all because of a trendline break. Now, many people, as we've seen every single time, this just happened with XRP as well. Many people would drag it here, and yeah, you did see a pretty precise retest. It's more than good enough to still fulfill a specific region, but when you actually just drag this down from the body to body and make it as tight as price as possible, you actually start to see clearer confluences. And because this market is so heavily manipulated, price usually does draw down to this level. I don't know if this is some kind of institutional secret I discovered or whatever it is, but it's very clear that price is always being driven to these regions again and again and again. So waiting for this now, I'm waiting for this region around here, around $7,600 with the trendline retest. The minute this level broke and we saw this breakout higher, the reason I said don't panic is because we had Fibonacci, the A, B, C, D, which has obviously now been fulfilled, and we had another crucial region. We broke from a trend line, and of course, every time these trend lines break, everyone tries to jump on board this movement here. It's like this candle breaks out, everyone enters, and they do not take profit. Even if it does push higher to a key level, they don't take profit because they expect it to just keep going up, 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 up and up. So there's a lot of confusion during these periods in the market. But when you actually understood the overall dynamics, and when I called that short from $10,800, it was very clear we were simply coming in for a retest of this trend line. So nice confluence around the next key level, around 7,700 to 7,750. And obviously, if this does take longer, then you can see it just aligns even more with $6,000. But this is also one of the biggest misconceptions that people are maybe even interpreting from my breakdowns. They believe that I am just saying we're going to be bearish for the remainder of 2019. Now, one of the keywords I've taken away, maybe I've worded it badly in the, before, but when you actually look at this properly and you look at what's really going on in the market right now, overall, this is just short-term movement for the overall bigger term picture. What I'm trying to understand and kind of project to all of you is, although we are seeing these levels, these are technically the final levels we'll be seeing before we absolutely begin to rocket. And all I was saying was $6,000 if we do see in the worst case scenario, which obviously right now could potentially unfold and become a reality, it would very, very likely be the final level that price hits before it actually continues going higher, give or take around $5,600 to $5,200. So putting all those confluences together, it's not too bad of a situation to actually understand as a possibility. But I don't want you guys thinking we just hit 6k and the market keeps dying, or we hit 6k and we consolidate. I do believe once we reverse from these levels, that will be the exact beginning date of the next bull run. From the exact point we actually begin retesting this trend line, and let's just say we do fulfill this weekly head and shoulders, which, oh my god, is so close now. We've broken that trend line. We could even see a retest before the end of the year of this broken trend line. So once we fulfill this retest here, price can even drive all the way up and retest this broken trend line. It's a weekly one as well, so it's very significant. And then from there, it could continue lower. So I've got the fibs here as well. So we've got the head and shoulders, which could very easily come true. If you do look at this region here, this would obviously very likely happen within the next week or two if we do see this. So if that does align perfectly with that exact head and shoulder formation that I provided weeks and weeks ago now, then that will be truly magical, and it'll even catch me off guard, to be honest. Although I calculated this is roughly around the same distance, etc., if it was to come through, I would even be very shocked myself personally. So looking at all of this together, an extra confluence on that move as well was, let's just say we hit this target here and you start dragging this up, you can see the Fibonacci targets. So if we bounce from here, the B, and then if C retest this trend line around the 61.8 to the 78.6, or even if you just do the whole move in its entirety, you can see even the 61.8 just here is still in alignment with this level overall. So there's a lot of confluences, and again the extensions align with this region up to $5,000. So there could be a lot of manic movement, and this could be happening in pretty large swings now that we've actually broken below this 10,000 support. Again, everyone here around these regions was saying 20, 30, 45, whatever they were saying, just stupid predictions with no logic. The market will not go up forever. This was very different to 2017. Although it was a very similar parabolic growth, it wasn't necessarily similar in terms of dynamics. The way the candles closed, as you can see, there was just very definite difference. So putting all of that aside and going back to this one last time on an intraday level, you can see the exact region. Now, 8,500 was the region called. Now, 8,500 zone, this hasn't been changed for months. You know this. It's landed exactly there. There is just so much perfection with this setup. I can't really believe what's been going on today. It's been crazy, to be honest with you. So looking at that as well, just to get back on track. What we're looking at here, guys, very simple retest in the short term. If you are just looking at this as well, very short term retest, bang, bang. If it does not even fulfill this region first, then just still be aware of this zone over here. As for the trades as well, I would actually arguably just get out of the trades altogether. You've captured such significant movements now. There's no point being too greedy. Again, if you want to leave maybe 10% on or 5% of your overall position running, then by all means do so. But it is pretty wise now to just get away from the markets. Captured a phenomenal move over 2,000 pips in a margin trading aspect. I mean, it cannot get any better than that. So whilst the going is good, always be safe and just take some profits off the table, and make sure the stop losses have been lowered as well. That's such a crucial element to trading. No matter how far in profit you are, for all you know, this thing could just ping back to 10,800 in a single day. If it can realistically drop from 10,000 to 8,720, it could very easily do so in the inverse as well. So put that all into perspective and understand things could always turn around. Just place a stop loss, be safe, and there's no need to stress about it as well. So everything's working in favor. Take those profits and go and spend something on yourself. But moving on to this element, and something that's a bit more interesting as well, we covered the phases as I covered in the beginning. This is the 2019 mid-year crossover, where I said we would start a new trend and either go bearish for the remaining half of 2019 and consolidating market behavior. And then recently, as I actually made this graph in this annotation, I placed this box here because it was just before the launch of BACT. So whipped up this purple highlighted rectangle, predicted it, put it in line, whatever, and just to align it with the launch of BACT, which of course was the 23rd of September, which has obviously been 1 day now, even I've lost track of time. So putting all of this into perspective, and even this key level here, as you can see, that retest around the $9,000 region, if I was to drag that up, you could see that now we've broken through this box. We could very easily come back up and retest. So we place this purple box at $10,000, and to come down here from now, you can just drag that just to align it, just to make it look a bit cooler. But obviously from the gap, we can see anyway where we actually broke through from. So now we've broken through this box. This could be the retest and the confirmation. 9.2 to 9.4 is anticipated, and then it continues down from there as well. So it's just an alternative bias, but it lines up nicely with this annotation. So as I said here, final 3 months of 2019, highlighted purple, I gave 2 arrows. The first region, anticipating the real bull run to commence from this level. Now guys, when I say bull run commences, I don't actually mean it just touches that level and then just bing, rockets to the moon. I mean from that point it hits that key level and then starts either consolidating or reversing. If it does obviously hold that level, what you will see from there onwards will be the bull run commencing from those regions. So essentially, the minute it touches that level, it will continue and confirm the original upside longer term bias. So another little kind of retrospect to throw out there as well, but throwing that in there as well, anticipating the real bull run to commence from 8.4 to 8,000, or of course $6,000. So looking at how this is moving right now, we actually need to be a bit careful because this could very easily continue to that $6,000 region. But for the time being, let's just see how this level holds, and if we see the retest, then we can move forward onto that as well. But you'll notice I said $8,400 to $8,000. Now look at exactly where Bitstamp chart, by the way, it dropped all the way through exactly to $8,000, literally by the exact cent, and it taps that level, and now it's began to pull itself back up. So all of these key levels are coming through, everything's working very well, but it does just show that when I said $8,000, and I obviously give this region, it's a round number, and the best way to prove if this is a manipulated move by an institution, or let's just say by futures, whatever is controlling this market, always look to see if price goes to a round number, because when you see a drop straight to a round number, that means it's been a premeditated level. So psychological, and it's just a clean number, and every single institution kind of, especially algos as well, they work around round numbers. So that's a premeditated move, because if price hits that level by the exact cent and then reverses all the way back, that means there are so many buy orders located in that region, it must have been premeditated, because even when there is a lot of activity or a lot of liquidity in the market, no level that is so perfect like that to the cent would ever hold up, because there would be so many different market buys and market sells going on at the same time as well. You wouldn't be able to get a huge average of orders actually correlating with that precise level. So that's a huge sign of indication of a manipulation. That's huge, and the fact we've seen that now does show that that was the backed effects that I was talking about. So the fact this is all correlated with back so fluently as well has just bonused this times 10. Extremely excited to see what follows from here. But I do believe they've filled the CME futures gap that I mentioned before around here. So now that we've seen this fulfill, we basically just want to sit tight and wait, see if the retest comes through over here. And when I say essentially this zone here, we basically break out, and then once we break out from here, it does confirm that bull run as well. But overall, whether that holds here over the next week or two or the next few months and then blows through the roof, then by all means it's still a confirmation. As long as we remain and reverse from one of these levels, they will be hopefully the key indicator to the next bull run. So just even screenshot this if you wish, just pay special attention, and we'll just hopefully see if it comes true. The fact it came true so quickly after I actually posted this online does show there is obviously some validity to this statement, because I called the reversal from obviously $14,000. We then caught this exact level, and that was simply by using a zoomed out perspective, which obviously 99% of these analysts do not use. I can assure you of that. Now, I think that's enough BTC for now. Again, we've got the halving coming a month earlier, hopefully, if the hash rating power and consumption increases, but we'll see how that goes down the line. It may impact it, but all I know is this makes perfect sense. We're seeing the down drop now. We've seen this confirmation break. Everyone's thinking, what's going on? I'm seeing all kinds of confusion on Twitter. From there, they drive price to the final extension of that inverse head and shoulders, the upside down head and shoulders. So again, the shoulder, the head, the shoulder aligning there. And then again, this level hasn't broken before. It took us lower. This was the $6,000 region. Remember, this is what literally what I said the other day. This region reminds me exactly of this, and that's exactly what happened. So to see that gap, Let's just check the gap size as well. Actually, that'll be interesting. Yep, a little bit more, to be fair. It would obviously been a little bit shorter, around $1,000 or so, but overall this is aligning pretty nicely in distance as well for the final push lower before seeing the next yearly reversal. So this, from here to here, you can see we've actually seen the break and the push lower. So if you actually put this together, we're essentially doing this, but we're getting higher every single time. So if we do see this now, we've progressed all the way back to, let's just say, this region or up to here. You're now still technically closing higher and higher on the year before. So even if we close all the way down to $3,000, for example, actually no, not 3,000, let's say 4,000. Even if you're closing down to $4,000, you would still be ending the year with a new higher low. Again, think longer term, think bigger picture, zoom out, look away and look in a different direction than the majority look at. When you do the exact same analysis, but on the weekly, daily or monthly, you start to identify a much bigger picture at play here. So using this daily chart from the beginning of 2019, we've seen the rally, we've seen the pullback, and then we're going to hopefully see the next push higher. So even if you see it go down to $4,000, it's now making a new trend. And all that would do is just create a new daily trend line. Let's just say around there. So let's just say worst case scenario, it takes all the way until 2020 around this region here. Let's leave this marked out. Why not? This can be another confluence. This isn't really for analysis or trading purposes. It's more for a projection and to understand a wider term picture. And if you look at it from here, the weekly, that shows a crucial validity as well. So for all you know, this could be the third bounce of the trend line. The general rule of thumb with BTC is after a third bounce of a trend line, you will see a reaction a bit more drastically to the prior two retests. So let's just see how that works as well. I'll leave all the annotations there for when I switch back to the daily. In fact, we'll just leave it like that for now as well. Keep it nice and simple. And let's now jump over to XRP. Now I would cover Ether as well, but we didn't cover the trades too much. Just know that the $190 region got absolutely annihilated. Again, I didn't even realize that was open. That was closed off, lovely jubbly, and it pushed down to the 160s. So that was taken out at the 160s. Win-win situation for Ether as well. But XRP, another trade was called for this, of course, around the 31 cents region. Lovely drop lower, broke through. Again, a little bit of a long opportunity was looking present at first, and I'm very glad I identified that quickly. I was literally in the car. I got so scared. I had to pull over quickly and just let everyone know ASAP the message was out. I was a happy man. Looking at this trend line though, going back to this chart, you can see 1, 2, 3. The third bounce causes the third largest reaction. The other ones, minor. This one, huge. So once you saw that consolidation and you saw the breakout through this trend line, I knew there was going to be a pullback. Again, every single chart I'm showing you, if you haven't actually realized already, it's a very simple pattern. I'm not even doing anything confusing. There is no mess on my charts really. I know some people do not use anything on their charts at all, but for me personally, there is magic within those trend lines. The market will always follow. Once you understand key levels and trend lines, that is one of the biggest key takeaways I can give you. Trend lines and key levels, as you've seen with BTC, the key levels have been so accurate, they react every single time. A minute ago, if you look at I said we'd go to $8,500, we got pushed through, but we still end up closing there. The next candle opens and reverses. The key levels are so crucial to trading because let's just say you've gone away for a few weeks or a day, or even just a little bit and you've forgotten what the charts look like. And then price suddenly has done some crazy stuff and it's well far away from where it prior was to you looking on your chart. You can easily just look at the key level and be like, whoa, it's right there. Okay, cool. I already know what's happening. I've already got my other stuff set up. Let's just execute from there. So it all comes into the overall bigger picture. But with XRP, what we've seen, we saw the pullback. That was inevitable. So I knew something had to come back and retest the trend line. So it made perfect sense to short it to the trend line. Very simple stuff. 31 cents region, tapped. And then we dribbled all the way lower. Now, when we actually hit this region at first, I saw these rejections. I noticed there was some nice stuff going on here. The trend line was being rejected. We saw a precise tap of our zone. Again, this was the first target for going short, so we actually tapped it dead on before pushing up a little bit more. Now, it was only when we were around here, I was like, do you know what? Even though that looks like the perfect reversal, if you just take away these two here and you look at these three, that's a perfect reversal. But then there was just a lack of momentum. And then I think, well, I kind of thought to myself, my apologies, I'm losing my words, guys. I'm so excited today. But if you look at this, this is what caught my attention. Again, the magnet keeps coming on. It's getting a little annoying, but here we have it. So I noticed this was a crucial thing for me, even down to there. Although we saw that reversal from here and we saw all of these rejections, and we're looking at this image here on the 4 hour. What if I just zoomed out quickly? And what if I just paid attention to what's going on? So we saw the closure and then we saw that drive down. Then I noticed if I mirrored the exact same thing over here, you can see the prior level around this zone. Again, drawing that out from there up to around the wick there if I really wanted to as well. All we done was break lower, retest, push lower. Now we've broken this pink purple rectangle here, retest, boom, all the way down. We're essentially doing exactly what you're looking for on the 4 hour time frame, but we're just seeing it in a much more zoomed out perspective, and you're actually seeing all of that action collected into a much stronger piece of information. So rejection, breakthrough support, retest as resistance, and down we go. And then straight to the first trend line was the target. We hit that, then we went to that, and then we went straight to our key level where we began to reverse from. If I go over to the 4 hour, you can see our first target of 2350, the zone held perfectly. There are so many nice confluences with this pair, so confusing this isn't too much of a difficulty right now because there's a lot going on. But looking at this, guys, having a look at this exact moment in time on the 1 hour reversals, a lot of wicks breaking through. I do think this could very easily just blow to the upside now and just retest at least around 26 cents, pushing up to maybe 26.5 cents. We also have this level here. Look at this again. Breakthrough, rejection, boom. So once I actually looked at the outer picture and then came back into the 1 hour time frame and started analyzing the intradays, what you will notice is we broke through. So I saw the reversal and I was like, okay, this is good. We saw a nice little reversal on the 4 hour, as you can see. Look at that, very clean. But what I noticed on the 1 hour was the pullback, retested broken support, term resistance, which absolutely crumbled price. So sometimes combining all of these time frames, although the 1 hour can be a little bit intimidating, but just by using crucial key levels and using trend lines, I can easily identify these movements in the market. It's honestly not rocket science. Now, this 4 hour, looking at this reversal, alongside that, the trend line was broken as I just marked up. We've broken through. Guys, all you need to do, retest the trend line. We've broken through, key level, boom, key level again. Then we continue down to potentially 20 cents and 16 cents. And again, if BTC does see that drop down to, let's just say, even if it's $7,000 or $6,000, if it does do either one of those movements, that should correlate quite nicely with XRP hitting 20, and of course, then potentially falling to 16 if BTC goes to $6,000. So there's many different confluences here. It's all adding up right now, but I just wanted to share a little bit of my insight on the market, what I'm thinking, and again, just showing gratitude for, guys, this is one of the biggest calls I've seen in a while on the market. I've not actually seen anyone else call this, especially from June. Like if you actually saw the tweet, wherever that's what, this is the original tweet as well. Oh yes, this is the original tweet. I forgot to actually show you this. So what I was meant to show you is the original tweet, just showing you just before this was actually posted online, and then obviously showing you the post version, which now looks pretty phenomenal, falling exactly into our zone. But I do believe there was one more tweet, again just showing the focus on this. If not, I can't even find it. We'll just find that later. But overall, just to kind of finish this off, guys, it's been a great day, a phenomenal year so far. If you actually, again, just start tallying up the overall success rate of these wizard calls, you'll start to notice there is a huge difference and a huge gap between the majority of other traders or analysts or whoever these people online are. There is starting to become a huge difference in the overall success rate of these calls. And I think, again, I just wanted this to kind of be a breach of, I guess you could say a barrier. It's kind of breached that barrier where many people have kind of watched from a far distance and haven't really understood, what Wizard is, or if it's just another one of those crypto platforms, or there's no other crypto platform out there, to be fair. But what I mean is, am I another one of those people on Twitter, crypto Twitter, which obviously I absolutely hate. So I guess it's hopefully broken that barrier now where people can actually look and be like, okay, this guy is legit. He is actually, he's telling the truth. He's actually posting this live. And then we are seeing these results several months or weeks later. And it just shows in the moment, it doesn't matter. People will always, disagree. They'll backlash. There'll be all kinds of crazy stuff and crazy opinions. But If you stick to your guts, it will normally work out as long as you focus on that longer term picture. So I'll leave you on that note. My voice is going incredibly dry from talking, and now it's time to get back to the charts. Let's see how this next movement pans out, and then from there straight back in the Telegram to keep you all updated.